Welcome to episode 9 of the Fierce Fatty podcast. I am your host, Victoria Welsby, and today we're talking about the 5 reasons why you still hate your fat body.
Perfect.
You're listening to the Fierce Fatty podcast. I'm Victoria Welsby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money, and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty podcast. Let's begin. Hey, did you know that if you leave me a review for this podcast on Stitcher or Apple Podcasts and screenshot the review before you submit it and then email that to me at victoria@fiercefatty.com, I'm going to send you an audio and digital copy of my best-selling book, also called Fierce Fatty, as a massive thank you. And even if you have the book already, why not write a review just to spread the good love so that more people can find out about how to be a fierce fatty and how to stop dieting and how to realize that their fat body is just amazing just as it is, right? Because we want to spread that message. Wouldn't you? I would love to have had that message. Imagine when I was like, any age before I discovered it, and someone told me it's okay to be fat. I know, because when someone told me it was okay to be fat, I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean it's okay to be fat? You're out your mind. So leave me a review, and bonus points if you share on social media that you're listening to this podcast. I'm going to enter you to win a Fierce Fatty cup. And what a better way to tell the world, I'm fat and I don't give a fuck what you think about it. I'm fierce, right? So do it. And also check out the show notes, because this episode, we have a download that goes alongside so that you can get the absolute most learning and impact from it. Go to fiercefatty.com/009 for the show notes, and you're going to find the Fierce Fatty Confidence Makeover. Okay, so go to the show notes, fiercefatty.com/009, because it's episode 9, and look for the link for the Fierce Fatty Confidence Makeover, absolutely free. It's going to go along with today's episode. Now, we're talking about the reasons why you still hate your fat body. A lot of people come to me and they say, I've done this, I've done that, and I've listened to this and read that and done this, and I still hate my fat body. I don't know why, what the heck? Now there's some really, for me, because I do this, I teach people to love their fat body, there's some real obvious things. And I want to share them with you to make sure that if you are in that place where you don't love your fat body, you've got these things covered so that you can move forward with thinking that, not even love, thinking that your body's all right, thinking that your body deserves love and respect and attention or whatever, So the first reason why you still hate your fat body is the media that you consume, the people that you follow on social media. Now, we are being brainwashed to think that thinner bodies are more attractive. We are aggressively being told this message through advertisements, through through media that we consume. It's just been drilled into our head aggressively to the point where we don't even realize it. We're watching certain TV shows and we don't notice that every single person who is an actor on the show has a certain look. They're all quote unquote traditionally what you would say is beautiful according to society. Or documentaries like, is it all one type of person, one type of body, or anything? What body types are you consuming? So one thing that I noticed this summer, it's November now, nearly December, but this summer, being in the UK area, is UK media is so fucking fatphobic. It is just eye rolling. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like the morning like chat show things and radio shows and everything, even from places that you think is more liberal. It's so sensationalized fatphobia. It's just exhausting. But the big shows that are on, they don't often have any type of diverse body sizes on there. So a big one is Love Island. So if you're in the UK, you'll know this, Love Island. Basically, it's a reality TV show. I don't actually know much about it because I've watched like half of one episode, but it's a reality TV show where traditionally attractive men and women go somewhere hot and they hook up with each other, try and fall in love. I don't know, something to do with love, but they're in their bikinis, they're in their swimming shorts and Speedos and all that type of stuff. And the reason why I've only watched half an episode is when I was actually in the BBC, the TV show that I was filming is that it started, I think. Yeah, it started, or it was on, and some of the housemates that I was with watched it. And I sat down and I was like, what's the big fuss about this show? And I started watching it and I was like, oh no. Nope. This is going to change my neural pathways for the worse, because it was just the same body over and over and over, thin women and muscular men. And I was like, nope, this show is bad for my mental health. And so I was like, you know, hung out in the room for a bit, wasn't watching the show, but then didn't watch it again. I bet you I would have loved it. I bet you would have been so entertaining and addictive and, you know, who's hooking up with who and blah, blah, blah. But even though I know I would have probably liked it because I like trashy shit like that, but I knew that also it would have affected my mental health. And it's really easy for me to spot something that is going to negatively affect my mental health and what I see as attractive or acceptable or worthy or lovable. Is I will just start, something will come up in my head of, oh, maybe you should. Why don't you lose weight, Victoria? And I'll be like, what the fuck? Where's that coming from? And you'll be like, okay, yeah, I was watching the show about this. Yeah, and it could be something which is innocent, right? It could be, you know, just like a property show. But the presenters are very attractive and thin and buff and stuff like that. And the people they're selling the houses for are traditionally attractive. And think about as well your social media. Where are you spending your time in a day? And if you're like me or like most humans on Earth, you're on social media at least for, I don't know, an hour a day or a few hours. I shudder to think. 27 hours every day I'm on Instagram. No, more like 26. And so what type of people are you looking at? Even if it's your friends on Facebook, are you friends with only thin people? Only people who you feel jealous of their body? And so they could just be like going around life being like, here's a picture of me and my kids, and that picture could trigger you. So you don't need to unfriend them. You can just maybe pause seeing their photos, seeing their feed for 30 days. And if you want to go check it out, you can just go and look them up and look, right? And just see how that helps with your self-esteem. Is someone in your friend group sharing loads of like, oh my God, look at this before and after picture, or oh my God, I'm on a diet and la 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 la. bullshit like that, then you need to put them on, what's the word, you know, hide them or put them on pause. So these are not the right words, but you know what I mean, on Facebook. Hide them from your newsfeed. Yes, hide them, yeah. Or if you want to go to the, you know, you could also unfriend them if you want, you know, do what you want. But a lot of the time, hide people, especially I get a lot of friend requests, and I really like it when I'm getting friend requests from fat activists and body positive people, because I know they share good shit. But if I ever get a new friend, you know, because they're connected through someone, I think, oh, they probably know who I am, and then they share anything which is even slightly triggering for me, I'll just hide them for 30 days. And then if it comes up again, then I'll hide them, you know, after 30 days, and they start sharing some other stuff that I don't like, then I'll just permanently hide them. My mental health is too important to me to let their views of the world hurt me. I mean, especially if it's not someone I know, I'll just unfriend them, right? I am unfollowing people on Instagram all the time. Anyone shares anything remotely, you know, not fat positive, I haven't got time for that shit. Like, if you spend any time on my social media, you come away feeling better, not worse, which is a lot of times what social media does. So do you have someone who's sharing recipes for diet meals, or fitness inspiration accounts, or accounts that promote movement, but the pictures are all like of thin athletes, no fat athletes, then this is a big reason why you don't like your fat body. Okay, so that's number one, following thin people on social media and consuming media that only has straight size people in. Okay, so number two is spending time with fat haters and dieters. Now, where do you work? What people do you work with? Who do you spend the most time with? Who are you chatting with on the daily basis? Are all your colleagues like, oh my God, I need to try this new diet where I just eat bird droppings and balls of yarn and I'm going to lose 7,000 pounds. You should try it. At the dinner table or the lunch table at work, are people like, oh, I shouldn't eat that because blah, 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 or oh, it's Sally's birthday, but I'm not going to have any cake because I'm going to be good. Are they like talking about their diets, and are they talking about how they're disordered with food? Not saying how they're recovering from it, but how you should be disordered with food too, and try this new diet, and oh my God, I look so fat today, I feel so bloated today, things like that. We spend so much time at work, right? So much time. And a lot of times we want to tell our colleagues to suck a dick, right? We want to say, hey, you motherfucker, you just eat my fucking tits, because keto is bullshit. You're going to lose weight, but then you're going to put on more weight, and it's fucking rubbish. I just want you to die, Karen. Okay, Karen, just die. We want to say that, but we can't, because we want to keep our jobs. But do you have to spend your lunch with Karen? Do you have to engage when Susan starts talking about her bird dropping diet? Do you have to be like, Or can you say to Susan, this is really fucking boring. Or, Susan, isn't it a lovely day? Did you notice? Susan, what are you doing this weekend? You know, oh, hey, Susan, I'm recovering from disordered eating. So when you talk about disordered eating, it's really difficult for me. Or, I don't know, put some headphones in, or move desks, or hide under your desk crying and rocking. What can you do? What can you do? There's so many different like strategies you could try and employ to avoid as much as possible. And sometimes it might not be possible, right? And you can't control that. But the people that you're surrounding yourself with at work are very influential. The people you're spending time with, the most time with, your friends, are very influential on how you think and believe. And it makes things normal, right? Like, if anyone started talking to me about a diet now, it'd be so strange. I'd be like, what? What? Diet? What is that? It'd be very, very strange for me. But 10 years ago, it would be very, very strange if someone said, hey, let's not talk about diets, because I found it so interesting. Telling people that, oh, by the way, that packet of crisps has 17 more calories than this packet of crisps. That was really interesting information for me. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but Dougal, my dog, has decided to start scratching the carpet. I've told him off. I've told him, listen, Dougal, we're making a podcast here, so we don't want you scratching. So sorry about that little bit of scratching. Also, I get a lot of messages from people on Instagram, and they will send me screenshots of messages that they get from their friends. And their friends are being outrageous fat phobes. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is abuse. This is straight up abuse. And their friends are gaslighting them, saying, no, I'm not being mean. I'm just, it's because I love you. I love you. That's why I'm telling you about this new diet. That's why I'm telling you that you're a fat piece of shit, or that's why I'm telling you whatever abuse that they've got. If you tell your friends, hey, or people around you, hey, don't talk about this stuff, and they don't respect your boundaries, go back to episode 7, where I teach about how to set boundaries, then they ain't no friend of yours, okay? No friend is going to be sending you fatphobic messages, or, telling you, saying nasty shit about your body. Like, oh my God, I can't, I'm telling you now, if you are my friend, I'm never going to be saying anything like that. I'm going to be sending just lovely, sweet messages to you. No, you need to get these people out of your life, or you need to put in boundaries, because your happiness and mental health are important, okay? Next, your family of origin. Now, this is number 3, family of origin, your family, the people that you spend time with, who brought you up. You probably learned a lot of fat phobia from them, probably. A lot of my clients, people I talk to, most have a story about, many stories about their mum said this or did this, their dad did this or said that, their uncle did this, aunt did this, sister, brother, people being awful human beings to them. And it's certainly my story that growing up, I learned that fat was bad, that thin was good, that dieting was a way of redemption, etc., etc. And because I grew up around that, and a lot of us do, I think it's quite rare that we don't, that someone doesn't have that experience. It's no wonder that you don't like your body when you go home on the weekend, or you go and see your family at Christmas or whatever, and they're like, oh, you've got fat. Oh, did you see Aunt Marilyn? She put on 12 stone, or whatever bullshit they're talking about. That affects you because you want to be loved and accepted by your family. You don't want to be rejected by your family, even if you really fucking hate them and they're really annoying and you don't want to actually spend time with them. Deep down, we all want to be loved and respected. And it feels unsafe to know that our family are judging us because of our size. We could be kicked out of our community, if you go back into our brains of, traditionally when we would have lived in communities, and being rejected by our community, by our family, was dangerous, because humans, we don't survive well on our own. We're community type beings. And so your family of origin perpetuating fat phobia and diet culture is very influential on your own self-esteem. Your mum looking at her body saying, oh God, look at my bingo wings. Oh, look, I'm so fat. And oh, and she's smaller than you or has the same body as you. She might as well be saying that about you. And so if you don't address that behavior in whatever way you want to address it, go back to episode 7 about boundaries. And so it could be spending less time with them. It could be saying, do not talk about your body like that. It could be only talking to them on the phone for 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes. It could be loads of different things that work for you. But if you do nothing about this, then there's no wonder that you don't like your body, because you are being bombarded with these messages left, right, and center that you're not okay. It's a miracle that you even think that maybe you could like your body. Like, seriously, it's a massive, massive, massive achievement to get to the point where you think, maybe diets don't work. Maybe fat bodies are okay. Most people don't get there because of the aggressive programming we get in this society. Okay, next, point number 4. Number 4 reason why you still hate your fat body is you don't challenge your internalized fat phobia. Now, we're all fat phobic, all of us, even me. I'm fat phobic. I just haven't discovered the different layers of fat phobia that I still have, right? Like, I think, yeah, fat people are great and straight size people are great and it's okay to be fat and all of this stuff, but there's still some fat phobia lurking in my brain that I haven't discovered yet, and there probably will be till the day I die. We're all fat phobic. We're all bigoted in some way, but the levels of bigotry that we carry should be as small as possible, right? And so just acknowledge you're fat phobic. If you live in this society and you live in the society, you live in our society, then you're fat phobic because we brought up in a fat phobic society. Now, if you can say certain things about, oh, some fat people are beautiful, but not me, I'm not. There's still fat phobia. It's internalized fat phobia. It's internalized hate for yourself and disgust for yourself and your own fat body. So you have to work on that. You have to break it down. You have to say, why? Why do I say that their fat body is okay and those fat people are attractive, but these fat people or me, I'm not attractive? Why? Why is complicated, but it's stems down to, it's what it is fat phobia, right? It's your internalized fat phobia. And so think about certain things. It could be as well that notice yourself judging others. And so look at pictures of fat people and see if you have any reaction, like, oh yeah, that fat person looks okay, but that first fat person isn't okay because XYZ, and break it down and find out, where is this XYZ coming from? What's going on here? Is this based in reality or is this bigotry? Am I being a bigot right now? Do I want to be a bigot? Do I? You might say, yes, I love being a bigot. But me personally, I don't enjoy being a bigot. And I try my best to try and not be a bigot. And, it's a process, right? Because we live in this society that's so aggressively anti-fat. So if you don't challenge your internalized fat phobia, you're not going to be able to move forward. If you're constantly thinking, and my body is just disgusting, but fat bodies are just not attractive, but fat bodies are just not healthy, but fat bodies are XYZ, you're not going to be able to love your own, right? Okay, point number 5. Point 5, reasons why you still hate your fat body. You've not made the decision to change and taken steps to change. Okay, so you have to decide, I am done with this shit. I'm done with this shit. Fuck this. I've spent my whole life dieting. I've spent my whole life hating my body. I am done. Then you have to do something about it, right? You have to take action. And you might not be done. That's fine. You might not be at that place. You might be like, you know what? I just want to try this last diet. I just want to try this last tea that makes me shit my pants, that means I have to wear a diaper, a nappy. I'm not quite sure if I can give up on my dream of being thin. That's a big one. It's having to give up on that dream of being thin and what comes with that dream. It's devastating, right? It's devastating to give up on the idea that one day we'll be thin and we'll have that fairy tale ending. Oh my God. It's really sad. It's really sad. I just knew if only I lost X amount of pounds, if only, then I'd love myself. Then I'd love myself. I'd have a body that people would envy. Versus, well, maybe if I stay the same weight and I just try working on it, maybe I will love my body then. When you're in diet culture, that doesn't seem really like a viable choice because you've tried loving your body the way it is now and you don't love your body. But you have to decide, I'm giving up diets. I'm going to work on accepting my fat body, loving my fat body, getting to a neutral place with my fat body. And you have to then do things versus just being like, I wish, I hope one day something's going to happen to make me like myself. You're the only person who is responsible for how you feel, right? And you're the only person really can take the action to do those things. And whatever that might look for you, it could be going to therapy, it could be reading books, it could be listening to this podcast, it could be doing things like taking Fierce Fatty Academy, which is my e-course. It could be exploring things in many different ways. Like there's no right or wrong way to do it, but you have to take action. You can't just hope that, you know, something's magically going to change. You have to decide and then you have to take action, right? So they are the 5 points. Let me go over them again. And remember, there's a download that goes along with this episode, which is called the Fierce Fatty Confidence Makeover. And that it is at fiercefatty.com/009 because it's episode 9. So the 5 reasons why you still hate your fat body. Number 1 is you follow thin people on social media. You follow diet people. You are consuming media that only has straight size people, only perpetuates fatphobic ideas. So it's the media you're consuming, the social media, the movies, the TVs, the radios, everything. Number 2, spending time with fat haters and dieters. And think about where you spend most of your time in your life is at work. So Susan at work. Sorry if you're a Susan and you're listening and you're like, fucking Susan and Karen always get it. What the hell? Susan at work is jabbering on about her bullshit diet all day long. Well, that is a big reason why you don't like your fat body. Next, number 3, your family of origin, the people who raised you, the people that you spend time with, who are your family unit. Their love and acceptance are important to you. And if you know that they will love you more if you're thinner, that's a problem. That is something that needs to be worked on. Number 4, you don't challenge your internalized fat phobia. And we all have fat phobia. It's just to what degree you have already explored your fat phobia or not. And it's an ongoing journey. Honestly, I've been doing this stuff for years and still something will come up where I'm like, oh, yep, I just had a fat phobic thought about that person or about myself. What's going on there? I need to explore that one, Victoria. What the hell? You know, it's not a dead destination that you're going to arrive at and you're going to be like, right, done and dusted. I no longer have bigoted thoughts. Hurrah me! Unfortunately, it'd be good if we could get there, right? It'd be good if we could become perfect humans, but, you know, it's not going to happen. Okay, and number 5, finally, you've not made the decision to change and taken the steps to change. Something to tack onto that is that it's absolutely okay if you haven't made that decision to change and you don't want to take the steps to change. Where you are in your journey is absolutely perfect, okay? You do you, right? You know what's best for you. And if you're not ready, then you're not ready, right? Don't force yourself. Don't be like, well, you know, I really do actually want to explore more diets, and I just think that this one diet that I've heard about is actually going to work for me. And then, you know, if you think that that's what's best for you, do the diet. Then, you know, when the diet fails, I'm sorry, it's probably going to fail, then you can come back with more confidence and be like, you know what, fuck this shit. Whereas now you might be like, fuck this shit, ? And you might be more resolved to really do this. Whereas right now you might be like, meh, somewhere in the middle, right? So you might not be at that motivated stage, and that's fine, right? You do you. You know what's best for you. Yeah, so a little fact about me. In the last episode, I mentioned that I went to university, paid for by the British government, and I have an Irish mum, and so the Irish government gave me money to live. Oh, don't you love these systems? It's amazing. So I went to university, but I wanted to tell you what I studied. I studied illustration. Illustration means to illuminate. And so I loved art all of my life growing up, and I loved painting, and it was my favourite subject in school. I studied it at GCSEs and A-levels, obviously, and then I did a diploma in art design and photography, and then eventually did this more specialised degree, so it took longer in illustration. But I had such low confidence that there was no way in a million years I was ever at that stage going to be able to become a professional illustrator, because I was just racked with self-doubt. I'd just be like, my work is awful and it's terrible, and I look back and I'm like, what? You were so talented. Oh my god, look how good you're able to draw. What? This is really good. But at the time I just thought I was awful, and afterwards I was just like, oh, I can't do it, and I just went and worked in a call center. And so I'm a very creative person. I love singing and dancing and being creative in whatever way that comes, and you know, things like doing this podcast is creative for me, and so I'm a very creative person. And nowadays, like with my illustration, I loved painting. That was the medium that I most enjoyed, and so I have a really big appreciation for anyone who is able to be creative and put their artwork out there, because I know how difficult that is. Oh my god, to have people criticize and judge your creations. I personally at that time couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it, and was just embarrassed and ashamed the whole time, and being like, oh my god, you know, this is so rubbish. And so if you do that, then high five to you. It's pretty badass. And yeah, so creative person, not into the sciences and maths and that type of stuff. Not my personality type at all. So that was my fact about me today. And I went to University of Derby. If you're a North American, you'd pronounce it Derby, but you're wrong. It's Derby, spelled D-E-R-B-Y. Yeah, I know you want to say Derby, but it's not. Anyway, okay, so leave a review, send me a screenshot of your review, and I'll send you my book. Share on social media, share the love. And let's get this message out that it's okay to be fat, that it is possible to change your reality and change your belief systems around fat bodies and live a happier life, not constantly having to look at the scales and judge yourself and oh my god, it's so fucking boring and exhausting, and oh, no thank you. And I just wanted to say as well, a massive thank you for your support and your love and your messages about the podcast. I really, really appreciate it, really more than you can know. And I'm thinking of, when I'm recording these podcasts, I'm thinking about who's listening, and you. I'm thinking about you right now listening, thinking, are they enjoying it? Is this content something they appreciate? And I hope that I'm serving you and bringing you good stuff. And on that note as well, on the show notes page, there's also a place where you can ask questions. And so I have another question coming up in a future podcast episode. But if you have a question you want me to answer, go to the show notes, which is fiercefatty.com/009, and you're going to find a thing to submit a question. And as long as it's about this stuff, right? Fat bodies, dieting, intuitive eating, all that type of stuff. Don't ask me the best way to roller skate backwards. I never mastered that. I can only roller skate forwards. So make sure it's about this, not something else, okay? Because I probably won't be able to answer you. If you ask me how to cook an omelette, I don't know. So yeah. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for being here. It means a lot and I appreciate you. And yeah, you are changing the world by listening to this stuff and spreading the message. You're literally changing the world. So you're pretty fucking badass is what I'm saying. All right. Okay. All right. So I will see you on the next episode of the Fierce Fatty podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Have a wonderful day. Dougal didn't make any more noise, so he's asleep right now. I'm going to go give him his dinner. But yeah. All right. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, Fierce Fatty.